Attention passionate Chicago, BARS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Chicago Bears' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Chicago Bears fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Chicago BARS FANS. Let's get to the news alright, Bears fans, buckle up because there's some real buzz around the NFL, especially when it comes to the Bears' future plans and the potential moves that could reshape their backfield. You know, this season has been a roller coaster for Chicago. After a tough 0-2 start, the questions are mounting about what needs to change to turn this around. And one of the biggest issues, without a doubt, has been the run game. It's been virtually non-existent through these first 2 weeks, and that's something this team simply cannot afford if they're serious about making a playoff push later in the season. The run game is the backbone of any balanced NFL offense, and right now, the Bears are struggling to find that consistency and explosiveness that they desperately need. Now, when you look at the running back position, it's clear that DeAndre Swift, who was brought in last year to give this team a spark, hasn't quite met expectations. Swift has shown flashes, but overall, he's been hampered by issues in pass protection and, frankly, an inability to generate consistent yardage on the ground. That's been a big problem because, as many of you know, Ben Johnson's offense, the one Swift was so successful in with Detroit, relies heavily on a dynamic, versatile back who can do it all. And Swift, despite his talent, hasn't quite fit that mold here in Chicago the way the team hoped. So what's the solution? Well, the NFL rumor mill is buzzing with talk about possible trade options, and one name that keeps popping up is Travis Etienne Jr. from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, it's important to understand that Etienne is not just any running back. He's a former first-round pick, and he's been making waves this season, especially under the new coaching staff in Jacksonville. The Jaguars, after moving on from Tank Bigsby, who was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a couple of draft picks, are now looking at their young guys like Bashal Tutin, a fourth-round rookie, who's been impressive enough to potentially step into a starting role, and LaQuint Allen Jr., a seventh-round rookie who's also showing promise. What makes Etienne such an attractive target for a team like the Bears? Well, for starters, he's currently second in the NFL in rushing yards, with over 214 yards through just 2 weeks. That's a remarkable start, especially considering the team's overall struggles. And if Jacksonville is willing to part ways with him, it could be a huge boost for the Bears' offense, which, let's be honest, needs a serious upgrade at the position. The fact that Jacksonville has already moved Bigsby for draft capital suggests they're open to trading Etienne if the right offer comes along, particularly if they decide to give more playing time to their rookies and see where their team is heading in the standings. This is where the strategic thinking comes into play. Jacksonville, if they fall out of playoff contention or simply want to explore their options, could decide to deal Etienne within the next 6 weeks, especially if they believe that Tutin and Allen Jr. are their future backfield. Plus, trading Etienne now, when he's playing at a high level, allows them to gain some draft capital, which is always a smart move for a team looking to rebuild or retool for the future. And for the Bears, acquiring a back like Etienne would be a game changer. He can force defenses to respect the run, open up more space for Caleb Williams and the passing game, and give the entire offense a much-needed boost. Now, it's worth noting that the Bears' front office has been pretty active this offseason in trying to improve their roster. They've made moves to bolster the defense, but the offensive side still needs more firepower, especially at the running back position. And with the current state of the run game, you can see why a trade for someone like Etienne makes so much sense. Remember, the Bears have been heavily reliant on DeAndre Swift, but his struggles in pass protection and consistency have shown that he might not be the long-term answer at RB1. So, bringing in someone like Etienne, who's proven himself in the NFL with his speed and vision, could be exactly what this team needs to take that next step. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. The NFL landscape is always shifting, and teams that are bold enough to make moves early often find themselves with a competitive advantage come playoff time. For the Bears, acquiring a player of Etienne's caliber isn't just about this season, it's about setting a foundation for future success. A dynamic running back can do so much for an offense, especially when you're trying to develop a young quarterback like Caleb Williams. Giving him a reliable running threat helps keep defenses honest, prolong drives, and ultimately win games. But of course, it's not just about the trade itself. It's about how the Bears' management perceives their current roster and their vision for the season. Are they content to ride out the storm, or are they willing to make bold moves to accelerate their rebuild? The trade deadline in early November is going to be a critical period for this team. If they see an opportunity to improve their run game significantly, they might just pull the trigger. And with Etienne's recent performance, he's definitely one of the top trade candidates across the league right now, according to analysts like Dan Graziano from ESPN. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, what would the Bears have to give up in exchange for Etienne? Well, if Bigsby was traded for a 5th and a 6th-round pick, it's reasonable to speculate that the Bears might be willing to part with a mid-round pick, perhaps a future 4th-rounder, to acquire a player who can immediately impact the offense. It's all about timing and value. The Bears have some draft capital to work with, and if they believe that Etienne can help them contend now or in the near future, they might see this as a worthwhile investment. And it's not just about adding a talented player. It's about making a statement. The Bears have been building this roster with a focus on young talent, and adding a proven NFL back could send a message to the division and the league that they're serious about competing. It could also take some pressure off Caleb Williams, giving him a reliable weapon in the backfield, which can open up the entire offense for explosive plays. Now, for the fans out there, I want to emphasize that while the possibility of a trade is exciting, it's still just speculation at this point. But the fact that the NFL insiders are talking about it seriously means it's something to keep an eye on. The Bears are in a position where they need to be aggressive if they want to turn this season around, and acquiring a player like Etienne fits perfectly into that narrative. It's a move that could pay dividends immediately and set up the franchise for years to come. So, as we look ahead to the rest of the season, what do you think? Do you believe the Bears should go all in and trade for Etienne? Would you be willing to give up a draft pick for a back who can change the dynamics of the offense? How do you see this impacting their chances in the NFC North and beyond? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of the Chicago Bears. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, rumors, and analysis, so stay tuned for the latest Chicago Bears news. This team is on the cusp of something big, and whether they make a move or not, one thing is for sure. Bears fans, the season is far from over and the best is yet to come.